Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 1 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now before we get started, I do want to mention that we are anticipating a special report from the President coming up pretty much with any minute now. We will continue to keep an eye out for that. But for now, let's start by highlighting, I would argue, probably the most important piece of information, and that's your weather forecast. We've got our sights set on what is going to end up being a rough weekend. We are looking at a snow, sleet, most problematic, a freezing rain type of event coming in on Saturday, exiting on Sunday, and bringing conditions that will linger through Monday and Tuesday of next week. It is again going to be a long-lasting system. Here is a look at what you need to know. Of course, if the President does come on in the middle of our weather forecast, we will be switching it over to the President. We'll have more details on your wintry forecast once he is done speaking. But for right now, this is what you need to know. We've got air temperatures this weekend that will likely, at their warmest, sit right around freezing. 31, 32, 33 degrees is our expected highs on both Saturday as well as Sunday, in that low 30s range. That means that we have the opportunity of seeing snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Right now, I think the biggest danger that we are going to be tracking will be the opportunity for power outages to occur because of freezing rain ice accumulations. Everything starts on Saturday. We're going to have, initially, I think we'll see some light snowflakes mix in early on Saturday as air temperatures are going to be down, likely in the 20s and low 30s. Then through the day on Saturday, we will warm up in the afternoon, possibly getting to around 32, 33, maybe 34 degrees. A little bit warmer than freezing. And that will lead to some of the snowflakes, very light snowflakes early on in the morning, turning over into really a rain, initially a sleet, but then a freezing rain and rain type of event. Now, that is very problematic because air temperatures and ground temperatures are going to be right around freezing, maybe even a little bit below that. So getting ice to accumulate is going to be pretty much what this system does best, and that leads to very dangerous conditions. Obviously, the roads are going to be slick, but then you have the possibility of power outages that can keep people, again, pretty much locked up in their homes, not wanting to go outside, because once you open the door, you're letting out valuable heat. Make sure, again, you have a way to stay warm this weekend if, again, the worst does happen. Now, I'm not saying the worst is going to happen, but it is certainly something we want you to be aware of. Right now, it feels like a, cool day. It's certainly cooler than average, but we're not walking out our door thinking that, okay, looks like we have got quite the system heading our direction. It is. We have got everything will really start to deteriorate as we head through Friday and then into Saturday and Sunday. Right now, 41 degrees in Greenville, feels like 36 when you factor in the breeze. We've got plenty of sunshine across the area, but as far as heat goes, that's kind of what we're missing out on. Right now, 43 degrees in Washington, feels like 39 when you factor in that west-northwesterly breeze at 6 miles an hour. Dew points down, the air is very dry right now, and that is going to allow air temperatures to dip down well below freezing later on tonight. Now, of course, a northerly wind will help bring in that cold air as we make our way through the overnight hours, but here is a look at how the whole weekend system is going to be coming together. There you see that cold front drifting down out of Canada. So we have got frigid Arctic air behind this system, but this is just the first of the systems. This one may bring a little bit of rain into eastern North Carolina coming up on Friday, but it's the area of low pressure that's going to develop around Texas that is really going to be the problem. And it's going to be the problem because of the amount of moisture it is going to pick up out of the Gulf. We will have cold air in place. Notice how that cold front is south of eastern North Carolina. That puts us in the cold sector of that frontal system. And then if that low just continues to work its way straight eastward, That's going to bring in a lot of moisture over that cold air, and while that low will have a little bit of warmth, associated with the central part of the low, it's not going to, again, be enough warmth to turn everything into a rain event. This is looking, again, very much like a mixed bag for eastern North Carolina. And while I know that's probably disappointing for the kids out there wanting just a straight snow event, this is the type of system, again, that creates more danger than just a snow event. Here you can see eastern half of eastern North Carolina stuck in the rain as we head into Sunday at around 1 p.m. Inland areas along and west of Highway 17 in that pink zone. That is sleet and freezing rain. Freezing rain is going to, again, be, I would say, the most impactful part of this forecast. If we get widespread freezing rain accumulations of half an inch, we're looking at I would really assume widespread power outages, at least significant power outages across parts of eastern North Carolina. A good portion of it, at least those receiving that freezing rain. Then you got to remember, Sunday night, that whole system, it starts to pull out of eastern North Carolina, and that's going to reinforce cold air on the backside of that low. So while everything right now at 1 p.m., unless you're watching again along that North Carolina-Virginia line, there you have some snow, but everything is going to transition back into snowflakes over the tail end of Sunday into Sunday night and potentially extending into Monday morning. From there, air temperatures stay cold. 31 degrees Saturday, 33 degrees Sunday, 31 on Monday. Overnight lows down in the teens Sunday night into Monday morning. Means, again, we're not seeing anything melt away and go away overnight. It is only going to refreeze and stick around for longer. So while this is a weekend system, I would not be surprised if we had school cancellations coming up on Monday and potentially even the following Tuesday, depending on how effective the NCDOT crews are at removing not just snow from the roads, but potentially moving ice and just compacted sleet from the roads. Now again, for today, tomorrow, and Thursday, not looking too bad. Going to end up warming up. 42 today, 51 tomorrow, and 60 degrees on Thursday. Pretty nice forecast. And then Friday happens and everything just kind of turns sour on us. This is not the type, again, of winter wonderland forecast that I know we all always hope for whenever we talk about snow and wintry precipitation in eastern North Carolina this time of year. This is going to be a little bit more headache-inducing. Again, make sure you are prepared for potentially just a weekend inside, a cold weekend inside at that. Now, of course, we are still, again, monitoring the White House Situation Room for that special report from President Donald Trump. Have not seen him come to the podium quite just yet, but we are anticipating, again, him coming to the podium within potentially the next 10 minutes or so. So we will, for the meantime, keep you up to date on exactly what you need to know, what's happening around eastern North Carolina. And want to start out by highlighting a story out of Pender County about a fatal accident that involved a school bus earlier this morning. Pender County Schools said the crash happened on NC 53 in the Maple Hill area. Now, according to the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, a car swerved left of center and hit a Pender County school bus. They believe that speed and fatigue were factors in the crash. Now, unfortunately, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol said that the driver of the car died, and the name of the victim has not yet been released. Pender County Schools confirmed the bus involved in the crash served Heidi Trask High School and had 23 students and one driver on board. Now, no major injuries have been reported among students or staff, but students were taken to the hospital for evaluation, according to Pender County Schools. Now, NC 53 was closed between Shaw Highway and NC 50, but has since reopened, according to Pender Emergency Management. And now we want to turn to the ongoing ICE protests in Minnesota after Renee Good's fatal shooting. NBC's Maggie Vespa has more from Minnesota.
Justice. What do we want? A massive show of solidarity with Minneapolis, with protesters in multiple cities marking Martin Luther King Day by taking to the streets.
If Dr. King were alive today, he'd be admonishing us across the nation to stand up and march for Renee Good.
Meanwhile, Sunday's protest at a St. Paul church under an intensifying spotlight. Demonstrators claiming a pastor at City's church runs local ICE operations.
What you saw there was anti-Christian, anti-law enforcement rioters storming a church.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche arguing protesters broke federal law.
You are not allowed to stop people from worshiping, and you're not allowed to intimidate or impede them.
The church invited us in.
Civil rights attorney Nakima Levy-Armstrong was one of the protesters. She says federal authorities have not contacted her about an investigation.
They need to be investigating Jonathan Ross for the killing of Renee Good, not trying to weaponize their power against nonviolent, peaceful demonstrators.
Homeland Security previously saying Ross acted in self-defense, accusing Good of weaponizing her vehicle. And the FBI says while the shooting remains under investigation, quote, the facts do not support a civil rights investigation. With protests raging in Minneapolis, President Trump threatening to send in active duty troops to quell unrest. There are also growing calls for an investigation after a man arrested by ICE officers in Minneapolis earlier this month died after being transferred to a facility in Texas. Senator Tina Smith calling it another senseless tragedy, saying ICE has an obligation to keep detainees safe. In a statement, ICE says contract security found the man, Victor Manuel Diaz, unresponsive in his cell, adding Diaz was from Nicaragua and in the country illegally, calling his death a presumed suicide that remains under investigation.
That was Maggie Vespa reporting, and that's all we have time for. Now, when the president does come up to, again, speak at the White House, we will, of course, take that live. You can find that here on the First Alert desk when it happens. But for now, that's all we have time for. We will be back again when the president comes up and takes a stand or takes the podium. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. We'll have more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour.